Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday morning edition of the Council on Future Conflict. My name is Scott. I'm the host of the show. This is Council on Future Conflict, episode 540. We're talking about the Reconquista continues and Dim Druze. You mess with Dim Druze, you get Dim Jews, which is what we'll be talking about this morning. We were just watching a little footage of what happens when Israel is upset at how you handle their southern Syrian allies. And let me just tell you, if you haven't seen the video footage of it yet, it is not. This is what you call displeasure. I'm going to show my displeasure. And so Syria has now learned what Israeli displeasure looks like. And we'll talk about that later in the show. We'll talk about a bunch of other things. But before we do, Joe, how you doing, man?
I am well and good. I was just reading Be Prepared's comment about tactical arts and crafts section of the Fieldcraft course. It says a room full of people not talking to each other, working intently, with the occasional curse word muttered softly. That's false. I didn't hear anybody mutter them very softly. They were quite loud. Especially, I don't know if he's in the chat, but Tyler, when he realized he cut his to the wrong length. So, no, this is a good time. We've actually had a good time recovering from the Elvis concert. I have some photos that I meant to share early in the show, but maybe we'll show them at the end of the show because I haven't gone through them yet and pulled them down. Maybe I'll do that while we run the show. But photos of Elvis and me and Elvis and Alan and Elvis and all the good stuff. I know we like to see photos of Alan smiling. It doesn't happen very often, so we got to take it.
You can't get picky, Joe. You can't get too picky on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, gentlemen.
What do you cream?
I'm so happy. I look. Some days you wake up and you just get really good news, right? Good morning. Congress just introduced a bill to revoke the National Teachers Association's federal charter today.
Well, I mean, when good things happen to bad people, or is it when bad things happen to good people, or maybe it's bad things happening to bad people? Who knows? Yes.
Oh, please let this happen.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that.
Yeah. And now my answer to how I'm doing is great. Let's get going. I was okay before that. Now I'm doing really good. I'm energized. Nice. Let's move.
That's good to know.
All right. All right. Let us get going. Anything we need to talk about local to you guys before or personal before we get started with the topic? I just want to make sure we cover all our bases.
I guess I should make the announcement that all of my meat birds are now spoken for between a local and a local that is in the chat. All of my meat birds are now spoken for. So see you on the next batch.
Well, that's good. You know, I mean,
it's real good.
Yeah. All right. Let's get in. Nothing from you. I assume, Joe, you're all silence equals consent, I assume.
Yes. Let's roll in.
So we got this first one up here. Shocking. The Muslim threat is bigger than the far right threat. Now this focuses on Canada, but we're going to kind of talk a little more broadly on this topic. So the story starts off. Remember Chicken Little? She was the one running around warning that the sky was falling and spreading panic all around. In the end, the heavens were not, in fact, plummeting. And to use the phrase Chicken Little to describe those who spread myths about the danger are ill-founded. Last week, Canadians learned that an imminent plot by 4 men in Quebec, including 2 members of the armed forces that probably came as a bombshell, no pun intended, to those tuning in. This anti-authoritarian militia had weapons, planned to seize land, and engaged in training and appeared to be recruiting like-minded people online. These self-styled national security experts, consulted by print, radio, and television media, all saw this as the end of civilization as we knew it, and that we in Canada had to dodge the bullet at the 11th hour, except for very little of this analysis was accurate. In fact, the RCMP has seized weaponry in the possession of this militia, 80 firearms, 11,000 bullets, and 16 explosive devices in January of 2024. So this is something that was over a year, basically a year and a half old, 18 months. These were amateurs who could very well have obtained more guns, but there is nothing in the open media suggests that they did. Furthermore, the RCMP knew about these guys a year and a half ago, means they had good idea who they were and what they were up to. Many were confused as to the time lag. Why wait so long between weapons confiscation and arrests and charges? Simple. What else could the Mounties learn about this gang? Where were there others involved? Did their plot ever get more plausible? Was there a plot in the end? As the RCMP spokesperson noted, there was never a threat to the public. This demonstrates to me that the force had everything that they needed, possibly surveillance. This was actually a huge investigation success, not a potential disaster. In other words, they had the whole thing under control at all times. In addition, this incompetence of the militia was made clear when Canadians learned that they were recruiting on social media. I mean, Joe, you got to admit, there's some pretty silly people out there trying to recruit people for very obviously, I mean, we like to joke about them glowing in the dark, but in reality, at least 50% of them are probably just morons.
Entirely possible.
These were not the sharpest pencils in anybody's box. It is fortunate that most extremists, in my experience, are that stupid. Yes, far-right extremism, including anti-authoritarianism and accelerationism, those with the belief that the existing state of society is irreparable and the only solution is the destruction and collapse of the system, appears to be on the rise in the West. They're saying that there is this idea that this is on the rise of the West. A number of Canada's allies, including the United States and Germany, are seeking link between these ideologies and the serving armed forces. The main takeaway, however, is the law enforcement and security and intelligence agencies are up to speed on this threat, and I'm confident they are monitoring it to the best of their ability, given finite resources. Joe, the thing that we found in America on this topic was there was a lot more appetite or demand for this kind of a threat than there actually was threat out there to provide. It's like you may have had like 15 or 25 of these types of individuals in the country, really. But the FBI was looking for the hidden thousands, right, of right-wing domestic violent extremists. Yet we've got Muslims who have come here from war zones with skills and a chip on their shoulder to do damage to our system. Yet they get no.
More dangerously, we have guys like the one who launched the attack in Kentucky this week, who was homegrown, is not Islamic or is not Arabic, and decided to convert to Islam because of the propaganda he was fed. So that's the bigger threat to me.
And so this guy says, we all need to stop suggesting that our armies, navies, and air force are rife with neo-fascists, Nazis, and their ilk. What is not acceptable, nevertheless, is that a conviction that this particular form of terrorist threat has risen to the top in the world. Jihadists still kill and maim at scales of orders of magnitude larger than any other extremist movements, and will likely continue to do so in the far future. And so this kind of pivots us to this attack in Kentucky that we saw. He was a convert, a Muslim convert in probably recent years. I imagine he hasn't been a Muslim for very long, based on some of the videos I saw of him online.
Well, there's Muslims and then there's Muslims.
Well, but this guy seemed to have, in some of the more kind of recent, jihadi kind of videos, he seemed to have the, what do you call it? The zealotry of the recently converted, they take everything like hyper seriously. I mean, let's be honest. When you're a white rapper, you've already got like one foot in the grave. So this guy's life was going probably in a bad direction. And maybe he thought he was turning his life around when he found Muhammad, but in fact, what he did was he turned into a one-way suicide machine. Exactly right. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring this idea up. And so it's not just in America, it's in Canada. We're seeing this heavily in the UK. You've got this huge Muslim threat, yet they're looking for people like Tommy Robinson, to find there's the bad guy. He's a white guy who hates Muslims. He's the bad guy. No. It's the Muslims that are literally stabbing people every day in London. Those are the real bad guys. And their inability to understand those types of cultural immigrants to your country are completely incompatible with Western society.
Correct. 100%.
And now, speaking of domestic terror and domestic violence, we do have an update on that ICE ambush. The guy who got away, according to the source, this is a tweet or an X post from Andy No. According to the source, with knowledge, Texas Antifa gunman fugitive Benjamin Song has been apprehended by the FBI. Officials have not yet publicly confirmed this, and I do not have the details on where or how the arrest happened. Song has been on the run since allegedly being part of an Antifa cell that shot up the ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas, on the 4th of July. Other members and associates of the cell have been charged so far.
You have known this ahead of time if you followed tacticalwisdom.locals.com. Long before Andy No put it out. Song was picked up in North Dallas at an address that was associated with him via not his address, but via his known associates.
Yeah, it's almost like if you're on the
network, I guess.
Yeah, if you're on the run, don't hang out with people you're known to hang out with if you're on the run. I mean, helpful hint. I mean, I've never been on the run before, but Joe, but it seems to me that hanging, like for instance, if I went on the run, I wouldn't come over to your house because they know that you and I are like associated with each other,
Right.
I just
have to hit a third party. That's
exactly.
Friends of friends, right? Or someone you've been to one thing with only. So.
Yeah.
I know a guy who teaches how to run a safe house network.
Yeah.
Joshua Clark nails it. Patterns of life strikes again. Yes, that we teach that in the SIGINT course and in all kinds of other courses that your patterns of life will get you killed. And this guy went to somewhere that matched his pattern of life and was found. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of targeting, right? The whole targeting cycle is to establish patterns of life on a target before you,
Yeah, it's the second F in F3 AD. So,
yeah.
Find, fix,
and finish. All right. Anything else on the domestic terror front? I mean, Joe, have we had a week, since you and I have been going on about this, where we didn't have some domestic terror? Because I'm pretty sure we're still on a pretty good.
It's actually really increasing, and ironically, the one that happened in Iron Mountain, Michigan, no one is talking about, but it hits a lot of key things. Well, there's one guy talking about it. There's a lot of it's a lot of the key points we've been warning about. Antifa wants to move into the rural areas. You don't get more rural than Iron Mountain, Michigan.
Yeah,
and the guy
SUP, right?
Because he's literally the only trans person in the Upper Peninsula, right? And and he got snagged, but they did launch a significant action in Iron Mountain, Michigan, and you need to be paying attention to that and be aware of it.
Sorry, I just found Watcher. I'm just letting you know that I'm putting another link in the segment 2 portion of the notes.
Since Scott used the term COA earlier today, SIGAX is another one of those insider phrases we use to sound cool. If you guys have taken any of my classes, you know why we use acronyms. It's not because they're easy to remember. It's because they make us sound like an insider and very cool.
Yeah. It's all about the drip, and it's not just like the uniform. It's like the way you talk. You got to
on, yeah.
Ultimate, like, forget about shooting and things like that. Just make sure you can like look the part and you can talk the part. If you can do that, then you never have to shoot a target ever. All right. I feel dirty after saying that, even making the joke. All right. Let's move on, shall we?
Joshua Clark brings up rule number 1. I'm going to give you all a little free preview and a treat. There are 3 rules. Rule number 1 is always look cool. Rule number 2 is always look like you know what you're doing. Rule number 3, if you don't know what you're doing, look cool.
Well said.
And walking backwards and tripping over your feet violates all of the rules at once. So,
we only know this because we probably both of us have done that at one point or another.
Oh yes. And I didn't just do it. I did it at the Blackwater facility in Moyoc, which is the worst place on earth to do it, because then it is immortalized. Everyone talks about it going forward.
Yeah, because all the cool guys are there that you want to impress. It's kind of like, oh, I didn't just
that
do
time when we were peeling and Dolio did it backwards and fell down, almost shot himself in the leg. I didn't almost shoot myself in the leg, but that's the way they tell the story.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at this next one here. Now, Joe, this is something we haven't really talked about, like India and China, in a while, because, a lot of that stuff that I guess it was like 2 years ago, there was a lot of the salami slicing stuff going on in the, what is it, Andhra Pradesh area, up on, I can't remember exact name of the region. Anyway, point is that they disarmed most of the soldiers along the border, so they end up fighting with like sticks and rocks and things like that. And so we haven't really seen a whole lot of that stuff going on lately. But that being said, that stuff doesn't happen.
Their last
on
one
the
was
regular.
like 8 killed between both sides. I mean, they get legit up there.
Yeah.
The world.
Yeah. 100%. They actually they do kill each other with axe handles and shit like that.
You do a leg sweep and knock a guy off a cliff, it will put a hurt on you.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this is that the U.S. has absolutely been kind of cultivating new Asian kind of partners and alliances and security partners. And so this is what we're talking about here. A Washington-New Delhi alliance is a perfect storm against China for India. Beijing's jitters a shifting trade landscape as China's trade with the United States continues to diminish. Beijing is anxious to stabilize trade relations with Washington, and it has done so at least for a while. But how long will the trade agreement last if the Chinese regime continues to violate it? The harsh reality for the CCP is that it's aware of its precarious position. On one hand, China desperately needs to stabilize its trading relationship with the United States. On the other, it can't live up to agreements because it has to cheat on trading items. As the structural weaknesses prevail in driving the economy downward, as a result, the trust level between Washington and Beijing is very low. Lack of trust isn't the only factor against China, of course. Trump administration's antipathy towards the Chinese regime as a strategic rival is well understood, and that's unlikely to change. Furthermore, direct foreign investment is dwindling, and foreign companies are exiting China as quickly as possible. Many of them are relocating to India. The list of companies chosen India over China is significant, and it's been steadily growing. Even before the U.S. president won the second term of office in 2024, dozens of major companies, including Dell, HP, Intel, Samsung, LG Electronics, Nike, Hasbro, Blizzard Entertainment, Stanley Black and Decker, and many others have already relocated their factories in India and plan to do so in the future. The trend isn't likely to change either. According to a 2024 survey by the American Chamber of Commerce in China, 45% of U.S. companies in China have initiated plans to diversify their suppliers outside of China, while 38% are considering doing so. The writing is on the wall. The writing is on the Great Wall of China. The trade gap is widening, not narrowing. Their days of leading in world manufacturing and strategic clout comes with it is on the way out. So what this is a big opportunity for India. The growing U.S.-India relationship extends beyond trade. Let's see. At the time, Modi mentions a mega partnership with the United States and began negotiations to address Trump's tariffs on Indian product. Notably, Modi had already reduced tariffs on some U.S. goods before he met with Trump. That may explain why Indian officials have described trade negotiations as very active and intense, supporting the perception of a fast-track trade deal being worked out between the U.S. and India. And this, of course, this has larger ripple effects. Go ahead.
That's actually a typo due to Modi's accent. He didn't mean to say mega partnership. He meant to say MAGA, but no one could really understand it with the accent. But I see a lot of people saying, stop trying to finish. Listen, for the record, India isn't exactly our friend either. And I will remind everyone, as I do often, that prior to his election as the leader of India, Modi was barred from entering the United States for terrorism. I'm just throw that out.
So here's my kind of I feel like our country can make deals with countries that absolutely deal in their own best interest, right? If a country says, "Hey, listen, we're going to be straight up with you, but we're also going to do everything that's in our interest." And if our interests align, then we can make a pretty good deal. If they don't align, then we're going to try to take you to the cleaners. And so I feel like India, for the most part, tries to make deals that are in its best interest. And I can live with that as long as they don't like cheat us or lie, or as long as they're straight up. Let's see. Another significant issue is India's increasing involvement in U.S. defense planning in the region. India will play a growing role in U.S. security arrangements in the Indo-Pacific region. And this makes sense because as China kind of starts to make more noises inside the -9 line or the 9- line, we need to have some partners, some security partners to balance against China, like a balancing coalition to help us, give us a place to kind of stand on our own 2 feet against China in the region. Let me just kind of read this last little bit here. On the flip side, in an effort to counter the friendshoring trend, China is restricting machinery exports and equipment transfers to India in order to minimize the ability to handle incoming manufacturing demands. Beijing is also warning New Delhi that its deeper engagement with Washington, both in trade and in strategic alliances such as the Quad, as well as significant cooperation in involving the U.S.-led defense postures, could threaten its cordial relationship with China. Joe, if you getting your soldiers beaten to death by axe handles on your border is cordial relations, heaven forbid they were acrimonious.
Huh. Crazy. Who would have thought? But really all that we're doing here is trading one group of virtual slave labor for another group of virtual slave labor.
Ding ding.
Yeah. So ultimately, though, this is creating a dilemma on China's border. I think this is a smart kind of alliance to have. That said, it is not an end-all, be-all, and I think you're absolutely right, Joe. Ultimately, you have to realize that you're trading one kind of, low quality workforce for another low quality workforce. Ultimately, you don't need it. Well, at least once the robots and all the AI and everything starts making everything for you, then you won't need your Indian workers. All right. With the next section, I'm going to euphemistically refer to as the tactics corner, because we have two kind of examples of tactics in what we will see in conflicts of the future. One is high tech, and the other one is old school. Yet, the more you have these untrained kind of large groups of civilian militias and things like that get involved in direct action, you're going to see more stuff like this occur. So first up is this story about Colombia deploys armed drones in escalating fight against drug gangs. Let's see. Inside the cavernous hangar next to Bogota's International Airport, military officers are testing a new weapon, a Colombian-made drone that can carry 18 pounds of explosive. It's a tactical drone that's easy for troops to carry, but one that also has a lot of firepower. Joe, we've kind of been critical of the kind of over-reliance on drones by some countries and some forces.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think there is a legitimate place for drones in almost every military's kind of order of battle, right? And I think in some ways, using a drone as basically a slow and low kind of cheap cruise missile is actually a pretty good use of this type of technology. So maybe Colombia has discovered that and is using it appropriately. The problem is when people think a drone is a panacea and is going to solve all your problems for future security concerns. Hell, what do we need infantry guys for if we've got drones to go out and just kind of,
if you can show me how a drone can hold down a street corner, I'll believe you. But you can't.
Yeah.
So
the drone is the latest salvo in the government's battle against the guerrillas and drug traffickers. But although unmanned aerial vehicles have become vital weapons in conflicts like Ukraine and the Middle East, Colombia is a latecomer to drone warfare. Colombia's conflict has been going on since the 1960s, but violence has been decreasing in recent years. That was due to a 2016 peace treaty that disarmed the country's largest guerrilla army, as well as ceasefires with smaller criminal groups. Gosh, Joe, it's almost like, well, why are we even talking about Colombia if they disarmed the rebels? Maybe they didn't disarm the rebels.
Maybe they never did. The rebels just decided there was more money to be made in selling drugs.
Yeah. Let's see. Now, says Army General, the criminals are using drones to monitor the drug crops and cocaine laboratories, target rival smugglers, and ambush police and army troops. Over the past 2 years, these groups have successfully attacked security forces about 200 times with explosive-laden drones. In one single day, they launched 17 attacks, he said. The technology is inexpensive and widely available. The drug traffickers buy commercial drones online for $1,000 or so and then attach homemade explosives to them. Air Force General said that because the new technology is so cheap, it's provided a huge boost to criminal groups. Now, that's true. I can see how this would absolutely be an asymmetric advantage for a group that has limited funds, but drug cartel people tend to have not limited funds. So it's kind of interesting to see see the same tactic we've seen on the southwest border with between U.S. and Mexico now in Colombia. But as often happens with unconventional weapons, civilians are ending up in harm's way. Drones, jury-rigged by criminals, have damaged homes and killed children. The grenades are handmade by them. The targeting systems are not very precise. No kidding. There was a 10-year-old kid who was killed by one of those grenades in the middle of a town. Over the past 2 years, about 60 army troops have been wounded in drone attacks, while 4 have been killed. The latest was a 20-year-old an army soldier who was killed in May while on patrol along the Venezuelan border. To defend themselves, the soldiers will also start firing wildly at incoming drones, but that rarely works because the devices are so small and maneuverable. Let's see. The only effective defense is an anti-drone system made up of radars and jammers that block frequency of enemy drones. But that's very expensive. You have to buy something for $15,000 to take down a $2,000 drone. So once again, they're finding the same problems with drones that we've kind of identified in the air war, like with Yemen and things like that. Yeah, go ahead, Watcher.
Well, but so I get what he's saying because it is a much poorer country. But interestingly, with this kind of setup, it's not like you're spending $15,000 just to take down one $2,000 drone. You're spending $15,000, and now every $2,000 drone can be taken down.
You're talking about with like the drone jammers and things like that.
Yeah, and that's what he's bringing up.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a per shot cost, right? Like
Sure.
For Not For Nowhere notes that drones don't go to strip clubs or buy Challengers at 28% interest. Got the economy. That's an outstanding.
That's true. You don't have to take it.
Drones don't sell all their 782 gear to surplus stores either.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I just thought we could just having a little touch on Colombia. We haven't talked too much about Colombia in a while, and I thought that was interesting. So the other side of Tactics Corner is this so entertaining, and
this
I don't want to say
this one is enjoyable.
I don't want to say cringeworthy.
At the very beginning, somebody dropped their radio, which would have been helpful in the middle of the fight. Anyway.
Well, the other thing, I honestly am very surprised that nobody was killed in the opening moments in the back of this, and I don't mean by enemy fire. I mean by friendly fire.
Yeah. Because little Sarge here is just blazing away over everybody's head.
So let's go ahead and watch this. These are the communist rebels in Myanmar against the junta, the forces.
Just a
essentially
popular defense force.
Yeah, essentially no good guys in this fight. If you ask me, go ahead. Let's play the video.
Yeah, I'm trying. Unfortunately, it's being very strange. Hold on, I have an idea. We can just do this. Oh, there we go. Hold on. I'll just download it.
Is this the longer or the shorter version?
No, I apologize. I can't tell at the moment. The YouTube here, I'll show you. The Twitter video thing for some reason occasionally just shits out on me. It's all right though. I'm about to download it.
I mean, you could just you could search for Myanmar and PDF, and you'll probably find it on another.
That is not the video I asked for.
Myanmar? No, Myanmar. Or I don't know why they changed the name. Burma is way easier to say.
It really is.
I've said Burma a bunch of times just because I didn't want to First of all, nobody even knows what Myanmar is anyway.
Yeah, and Burmese is way easier than saying Myanmarian.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, there's the radio.
Let's flag all the people in the vehicle while you're at it. And for everybody who says the AK is a way more reliable weapon system than the AR-15, this guy had entirely 10 more jams in combat than I ever had with my M4. I'm just going to say.
No, he only has one.
He just never fix it.
He has learned one of the most important things in combat: movement. You got to move. Can't stand still. There he gets the round out.
Because you know what fixes the double. triple feed.
Way better with the language in it. It's great. Still has mag seated, right?
I have to say, the Far Cry 3 remake is looking really good.
The what?
This looks a lot like this looks like it could have been taken from like a real life remake of the Far Cry 3 video game.
Now this guy gets aced right there, and there he is, dead on the ground.
I don't know, maybe it's 4, whichever one they're in.
I assume this guy with the helmet cam on is the like squad leader or something, or platoon leader.
That's an advanced trick right there.
It basically said that weapon. So I think he picked that weapon up off the ground from somebody else, and he just
he chucked his that wasn't working in the truck and got another one.
I will say that he hit someone in the head with it. That's my new favorite advanced move.
Is that truck brand name called Scat?
Okay, let's go back.
So, in all honestly, it looked like the
Good God.
troops initiated their ambush too late. These guys were already past the kill zone when the ambush triggered, and they were able to come back and fight through. But it looks like the junta forces took the brunt of it. They almost got, looked like most of them got smoked when they tried to hide underground. So,
well, so this, I'm just reminded of like the just absolutely cringeworthy scenes that have come out of Myanmar over the years. I'm sharing another one. If you would share my video, watcher.
Yes, a classic.
I remember when this happened. Like she was literally doing this like live stream during the
actual junta takeover, right?
Yeah, this is when they did the against what is it, Aung San Suu Kyi or whatever after she took power, and they came in and basically kicked her out. That's what this was going. So, yeah. Anyway, Myanmar.
Huh.
It's also where we first saw that drone rifle. Remember the junta forces raided
that's right.
the defense force thing, and we saw an anti-drone rifle. So
yeah.
It's crazy. It's actually good to see things like that because then you learn a little bit about the chaos of combat and the fog of war. And this right here is what not training on standard immediate action drills gets you, right? No one in there knew what to do. There was no coordinated action to fight through the threat. This is why we teach battle drills. That way everyone at least knows where you're going, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's but Joe, this is the kind of thing you're going to see, right? Like in any kind of untrained, if you don't give your guys like good training, and it can't just be like, okay, learn to shoot. Okay, you've learned to shoot your weapon. Good. Let's get in the truck and go. Right. It's not that. It's like rehearsals, right? And rehearsals are different than training, but they're kind of similar. But like the final thing you do is rehearse something, and you do things like rehearse getting out of the, like, okay, all we got is a dump truck. So how do we get out? Well, let's rehearse that. Let's practice that. Let's figure out how we're going to get out if we need to.
And we give briefings on things like, if you're in the center of the truck, let the other guys shoot. You don't shoot, right? I mean,
it's essentially if you've got the left side shooting, the right side should be going over at the same time. That way there's no kind of confliction. Now, it did seem like they had basically like 5 or 6 dudes just hanging out in the back of the truck, and they're probably a mobile base of fire to support the other guys. I mean, that's just me kind of spitballing here. I don't know if it was that well organized. But this team leader or squad leader or whatever that we saw the video of, I mean, he seemed like he, I mean, this is not the first time he had been in a conflict like this.
Well, yeah, he was giving effective orders, trying to move his men, but the problem is this was obviously not a frontline combat unit, and the guys weren't exactly aware of what they should be doing.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Anything else on this one we want to talk about, gents?
No, I just thought it was a funny video.
Yeah, me too.
And realistic too, though. I mean,
well, we just had our tactical corner, so that's a good segue into tactical wisdom. Joe,
you ever ran a convoy full of jingle trucks? Because that's what it looks like when they get hit.
Well, we were joking at work the other day. One of my buddies was saying, I think this is what convoy live fires are going to look like when I become a first sergeant. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That is funny. All right, let's go to the tactical wisdom segment. We got fun events coming up, but I wanted to talk about one that we already had. Watcher, I sent you some photos. Here's a few of the photos. There's Al and Linda, the founders of the Northwest Montana Veterans Food Pantry, with Elvis, Patsy Cline, and I guess he was supposed to be Johnny Cash, but at that point, it doesn't really look like it. But so that was a good one. There's another one in there with all the veterans. That's a really cool one. It says all the veterans who were present at the event. Pretty neat group. A lot of fun. I'm standing there behind Alan. And we got our crack security guy with his oxygen tank next to us. But Lynn did a fantastic job helping. The other guy there standing next to Alan is named Santa Ed. He runs his own veteran security. I just met him the other day. This may surprise you, but he has spent the last 30 Christmases in a row working as a Santa at various places. So a lot of good people here. Guys came out to support each other and get supported by the crew. We had a great time, and it was a good event. Those two guys way down there in the corner in the pink shirts, they weren't even there for the event. They came to just camp at the camp, and when they checked in, I told them about the event, and they were like, "We would love to come to that." And it actually turns out that the one guy in the end is a YouTube guy with a channel. I'll get his channel, and we'll share it on Friday. He does travel vlogging from wherever he goes. Like Thailand and places like that, and so he made some video here at the camp. So we should get a cool video out of that. So it was really a great time. We raised a lot of money for the camp and the programs we have here, and good stuff. And I think there's one more photo that's in there. I'm not sure.
I've just got one more of those three.
Yeah, throw them up there. They're good people. These are the Klein family who came out and did the concert. They really believe in veterans' causes, and they do a lot of things to support it. And they literally own every Elvis costume ever made. So it was really a lot of fun. I didn't think we were going to have that much fun at an Elvis concert, but we did. So I will drop a link over in the chat on how you can support Camp Ponderosa and help us out. But we're grateful to the Klein family for their help, and we had a great time. It was really cool. Now, next weekend, we're going to have Shield Field Days right here at the old Tactical Wisdom base. If you have read, by the way, Mike Bennett's new book, Memoirs of the Druze, the mysterious camp in the Montana woods he's talking about is this camp, even though he puts it somewhere else. He didn't want to give away our exact location, even though I do all the time. But we have a first aid class coming up next Friday here. If you're going to be coming to Shield Field Days, come in a day early and hit the first aid class that me and Brent are going to put on. Brent really knows his stuff. He's a good guy. Right afterward, I'm going to roll into community security ops here at the camp. Then I have a couple of one-day and half-day classes, August 9th and 10th here at the camp. Getting home is about how to build your bug-out bag or your get-home bag anyway, and how to make a plan for that and how to use the things in it in a real-world scenario. And the one on August 10th, Baofeng Basics, is just 4 hours of getting out the basic Baofeng radio, playing with the buttons, learning what the menus are, learning how to shut up the angry Chinese lady, and actually putting that radio into usage. A couple days after that, we're going to run into a field training exercise here where we launch an actual short range patrol, move out into the Flathead National Forest and look at some Op4 activity, and then come on back and write a report on it. And then the week after that, we roll into a whole training week where from the 22nd through the 31st, you can get fieldcraft, community security ops, and combatives all in one 10-day period. It's a great time. We're going to have a lot of good stuff going on. And we might even go and hang out with our friends down the road at the local bar and have a good time. Tyler Payne, of course, is the real Elvis. I told you guys that was but anyway, a lot of cool stuff. Come on out and check out tactical-wisdom.com and get in class. Things are getting worse. We need to be ready.
Yeah, this is not the time to kind of stop focusing on your preparedness, things. This is the time to make those contacts, to make sure that you understand how to use all the things that you've been buying over the last couple of years. And let's be honest. I mean, meeting people and making connections. Sure, you may have already learned how to navigate with a map and compass, but that doesn't mean taking a land nav course is useless, right? The people that you meet in these classes will be good people to know, and invariably a lot of them will be potentially local to you if you're doing trainings and things like that locally. And if you're coming to, like, say, go to the G Camp or Montana or someplace like that, you might not meet local people, but you'll meet people that have connections with a way larger network, like somebody like Joe. So keep that in mind. And speaking of people with large networks, let me talk a little bit about Brushbeater Store and our good friend Matt over there, who has given of his blessing to sponsor our program. So today we're driving into the Spanish migrant riots and Syria's sectarian bloodbath, and we're proud to bring in another ad for our trusted sponsor, Brushbeater Store, arming you for a world on edge. Spain's streets are burning. Riots in Torre Pacheco and Sabadell saw far-right locals and Moroccan migrants clash with machetes, bottles, rubber bullets flying after attacks on residents. Far-right groups scream Reconquista, claiming Muslims are invaders. Well, I would say they're probably correct. While the government calls it hate speech, sounds like a powder keg, and we're skeptical that it'll stay contained. In Syria, HTS's Sunni jihadists have massacred over 30 Druze using night ambushes to sow chaos. From Spanish cities to the Syrian desert, threats strike in the dark. At Brushbeater.store, night vision and optics gear keeps you ready. So on the high end, you got like dual tube AGM NVG 40 NW1s at like around $6,800. Those are dual tube generation 2 white phosphorus. They look great. But if you're looking for generation 2 monocle, you could go with the AGM Wolf 14 NW1s. That's around $2,300. And those are rugged Gen 2, like PVS 14 style monocles for both handheld and helmeted use. I know that he's got a new, like a skull crusher. If you don't want to wear a helmet for that, you can get something like that to mount your optics on. Additionally, he's got the Kyber Optics, the Brushbeater Kyber Optics MDO exclusive to Brushbeater. It's a compact red dot for pinpoint accuracy in riot zones or ambush. Test them out at Yanceyville, North Carolina showroom. He's got a dark room there, so you can check out the night vision and see how it works. Check brushbeater.store/collection/night-visions or collection/optics to gear up now. Use our exclusive code CFC10 at checkout for 5% off night vision, optics, or your like radios or training courses. Orders over $100 shipped for free. Visit brushbeater.store and see through the chaos. Huge thank to Matt for supporting the show. We couldn't do this without guys like him and you in the chat. Head to brushmeter.store, use code CFC10, and own the night. Now let's get back to the show. So first up today in the main segments, we've got the Reconquista continues. Now, Joe, this is exactly the kind of thing that I've been thinking is going to happen in Europe for a while, and I wouldn't be surprised if Spain isn't the last place that we see this type of thing happen. We've got huge populations of Muslims throughout Europe. So literally any European country could see something like this. Well, maybe not Poland, because Poland has basically been pretty solid.
Stop that Poland is based.
Yes, Poland is based. Yeah, exactly right. So let's look at this one in Spain. Now, this was going on Monday, but we just, we didn't cover it. We wanted to let it develop, and develop it has since then. Hold on a second. I just closed out a tab and I need to reopen it. Boop, 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 boop. Joe, if you had to put money on what European country does this next, which one would you say?
Honestly, I would actually say France, because we actually had a couple of incidents of it anyway. So yeah,
I could see some other kind of super spicy shit happening in Sweden as well, and England. I mean, let's be honest, England's always one pint away from a riot. Before we get into this one, actually, let me catch up real quick. PCH helicopter tours for $1. What about weapon systems like the Leonidas, but on smaller scale? I don't know what that is.
Leonidas is a truck-mounted billboard EMP weapon.
For anti-drone stuff.
And the answer to that is that the Chinese have an anti-drone rifle, but it doesn't work very well or have very far of a range. So.
Sorry, I'm catching up a little bit of the chat here. All right. Here we go. I'm back on track. So first up, we got Spanish citizens riot after elderly man brutally assaulted by migrants. Among the painfully leftist governments in Europe, the leadership of Spain is often cited as the worst. Yeah. So some of the things that, like, I had some Spanish guys that worked with me at NATO, and some of the things that they told me, I was just like, you got to be fucking kidding me. In 2023, Ipsos published a report conducted in collaboration with King's College London and the Global Institute for Women's Leadership, indicating that Spain is the European country with the highest level of self-identified feminist and a strong awareness of gender inequality. In other words, the country is doomed to suffocate from the stupidity of far-left politics. This includes dangerous progressive immigration policies, with Spain being overrun by third-world migrants. In the past several years, the majority of migrants are Muslim, come from North Africa, and entered illegally from Morocco. The problem has been compared to an engineered foreign invasion, with leftist globalist leaders pulling the strings in the name of multiculturalism. If the goal is to create a utopian society where everyone gets along and respects everyone else's culture equally, then the project has failed miserably and should be abandoned. If, however, the goal is to destroy Western civilization through demographic sabotage, then the project is enjoying wild success, but should still be abandoned. Spanish citizens have dealt with years of expanding criminal activity, violence due to migrants, and the majority of them tend to be military-age males from Islamic nations in North Africa. They've shown no intention of assimilating to European societies. These migrants have formed numerous street gangs in Spanish cities, committing theft, muggings, and beatings, and rape while openly wielding knives and machetes since 2019. Spain has seen a 35% increase in knife crimes. The cultural enrichers commonly record and proudly post their attacks on social media. Cultural enrichers, I like that. I see what he did there. This includes a recent mob assaulting of an elderly Spanish man that ended with severe injuries and hospitalization. Such crimes are rarely reported in the international media and quietly buried in the Spanish government. Leftist activists in Spain fully support the invasion and malign anyone who dares criticize the lack of immigration enforcement. The country is so rife with fear, citizens complain that the attacks on the streets are ignored by witnesses. They walk away and let victims fend for themselves. The media refuses to cover migrant crime with any honesty, but they do jump to the ready when conservative groups try to do something about it. Citizen riots have exploded in Spain in this week, and the attack on Dominguez, that's the old man, with the media admonishing far-right violence as racist and Islamophobic. You know, Joe, if you and I defend ourselves against, a Muslim assaulter, then we are Islamophobic. If he assaults us, then we were probably, flexing our privilege on him or something like that. That's the kind of the circular insanity that you have with this woke logic.
Yeah, this is just a reincarnation of the Ottomans and whomever else came across, the Saracens, who came across before, and actually they ruled Spain for quite a while. Crazy.
Let's see. A Mexican Iron Man for $10. Wait a minute. How the hell in 5 centuries did my ancestors go from ravaging and pillaging 2 continents in the New World to being dominated by a third world illegal migrant invaders? Well, yeah. I mean, it was probably when you did away with the Spanish Inquisition is probably when,
Well, I was just going to say, what is old is new again, right?
When was women's suffrage granted? That would be what I would look at.
Yeah.
It is the liberal woman, no matter where she is in the Western world, who has voted for these policies or brought in these policies that made this happen.
Well, the other thing too, Joe, is how do you think, what is it, Francisco Franco, how do you think he would have handled this?
He would have killed everyone.
I mean, the sad thing is when people are like pining for their fascist dictators of yore, you've gone too far.
For example, see everyone's current fascination with Pinochet.
Yeah, I mean, so the irony is as much as we like the fact that they hated communism, they were still a tyrannical, authoritarian nightmare.
They were just slightly more bad to the communists than they were to everyone else.
Right, exactly right. Anyway, sorry to pop your bubble there, Pinochet's helicopter tours. All right. Speaking of somebody who's ready for the march against the globalists and the left, Pinochet's helicopter tours. You got that?
That's a fair point, Pinochet helicopter tour, but those damn trains were on time.
All right. Let me get back to it here. So let's. I think there's some video here. Yeah. So
the Garda are pulling out. They're like, "Oh, we out."
My guess is this is the Reconquista crowd. They're the mad as hell. We ain't gonna take it anymore group. And Joe, we're about at this same level in Ireland right now. The Irish are pretty fucking fed up at this point.
Yeah, and the Irish probably still have guns buried in the backyard.
Yeah,
the Spaniards,
especially in Northern Ireland.
Right, the Spaniards can own hunting firearms. but I'm not actually sure on that.
Yeah, I think guns are very rare in Spain. I don't know exactly what the laws are, but especially in crime, supposedly. I don't know if it's actually true or not, but. So anyway, so the propaganda on display here is absolutely vile. No mention of years of assaults committed by migrants in the country, and the only people being punished are right-wing protesters reacting to the crimes. The good Islamic fundamentalist in Europe is the goal of Islamic fundamentalists in Europe is to subdue and conquer what they call the soft jihad. And so let's look at how Muslims respond to face coverings in France being outlawed. Just to kind of give an example, now this guy's speaking in Arabic. This is you've moved on to the next story. If you just go back and closer to the bottom, there's a guy speaking. I just wanted to read some of the things he say.
Wow.
Because it's always good to see the Muslim nonsense.
It's always hard to make sure we're seeing the same comments.
No, not comments. This is on the story. If you go back to the Zero Hedge story. There. That's the one I want you to play right there. That video, that guy you just showed. All right, so I'm just going to read. I'm going to read his subtitles here because I don't want you to have to listen to his Arabic. The civilization of France and the West is a civilization of lies and sin, a civilization of atheism and heresy. Hate the true. They hate the true religion of Allah and the religion of monotheism. They're civilization of one of prostitution, promiscuity, and homosexuality. I mean, France, no facts. This is why they harbor feelings of hatred towards the Prophet Muhammad. Oh, Macron, you know your place. Oh, Macron, you know your place. With jihad, we will destroy your honor. Oh, Macron, you lowlife. Tomorrow we will conquer Paris. From Al-Aqsa Mosque, we say to Macron, the enemy of Allah and his messenger, receive the tidings, O enemy of Allah, with that which displeases you. Soon enough, there will be a rightly guided caliphate in the path of the Prophet Muhammad. The great armies will advance saying, Allahu Akbar, there's no God but Allah. Joe, so essentially, this is the freedom of the West allows these people to come in here and essentially, these people absolutely hate the society in which they have migrated to.
And this is advocating the overthrow. In the U.S., this speech would technically be illegal, and free speech things don't protect it. Although we do allow it.
It's incitement and a couple other things. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. It's incitement and a couple other different things. Slander, maybe, I don't know. It depends if you're talking about an individual. But
the problem is they treat these people as citizens, and they treat them as a crime problem rather than dealing with them as an insurgency problem, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's times like this when I would like to find. Hold on a second. I'm looking for a clip here real quick. From old Raymond Ibrahim. Where is it?
Sorry. I'd fill, but I'm really trying hard to stop myself from saying something out loud. So
I don't really care. I'm getting ready to find a clip of Raymond Ibrahim. We'll let him say it out loud in the clip.
I don't know why. This one's for Mexican Iron Man. I don't know why all those Spanish people were over there speaking Mexican.
Yeah. So this is the clip. I think I might have played this on here before, but it's such a good clip, and it's worth kind of taking in. Yeah, there we go.
You're not doomed yet, but and in all of world history, there has never been a civilization that has so opened its doors to another civilization that is openly hostile to it. So this is unprecedented what's happening. Your ancestors of Europe, when I describe
That's a great speech, yeah.
history, fought tooth and nail to prevent Islam from entering and conquering Europe, because that was one of the grand plans that went on for century after century. From the east, the Turks were trying to enter Constantinople. They surrounded Vienna in 1683. And before that, the Muslims, I told you, went up into Tours in France in 732, 1,000 years later. This was an actual goal. And now Western Europe is saying, oh, none of that matters. It was a misunderstanding. Come on in. But they haven't changed. That mentality, and when I say they, that's obviously, I'm simplifying. The mentality that I've described is part of Islam. It's an Islamic concept. So the Islamic State, you're told, oh yeah, they have nothing to do with Islam. They've twisted it. No, they haven't. They are a representation of what Islam, the caliphs, the sultanates, the emirates, that's how they operated. The heads of Islam, the grand imams and the muftis said the same exact thing. Okay, so that is what it is. Again, it's not my point to arguing, oh, well, this particular migrant wants to conquer you. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's looking for a good life. I understand that, and that's what makes it complicated. But to just open your borders completely to that demographic, which has within it, not all of it, but within it, that kernel of animosity for Christians and so-called infidels, and the imperative to conquer the world in the name of jihad for Allah, which they're the good guys, keep in mind. They never see themselves as the bad guys. This is one of the issues with all conflicts. They're not bad guys. They're good guys in their mind. You're the bad guys because you're infidels, and they're trying to bring the light of Islam to you. So that's another aspect of how moral, or the morality that they feel. They're the good guys, okay, in doing this.
I'm just gonna pause it here for a second. I mean, never has a group in history invited in the people who want to conquer their own societies.
I'm going to back up here and say that the objective of moderate Islam is radical Islam. It does not go the other way. There's no voices attempting to moderate Islam. There are voices attempting to radicalize the moderates, but there's nothing going the other way.
Pinochet's helicopter tours for $2 in the Rumble chat says, so will the left dare try to trans the Muslims? If so, what happens when they try? And should anyone try to stop them before the outcome we expect happens? So yes, in fact, they are trying to trans the Muslims, but they're doing it to the population specifically in America. You don't see that shit happening in Europe because the Muslims are in charge of the Muslim populations in Europe. In America, you have much more disparate, individualized Muslim populations. Like Americans, the Muslims in America are individualistic, so they don't follow a collective kind of herd mentality the way that Muslims in Europe and in the Middle East do. So that being said, it's not to say that they don't do these things; they just do it less. All right, you guys want to finish this guy up, or have you heard enough?
It's a great speech. Might as well finish it up.
Yeah, it's got about 2 more minutes.
Because look at you, Denmark and Europe. You're all dissipated drunks and profligates, and there's no real. Yeah, I'm sharing with you their arguments because I read it and I hear it. So they're bringing to you goodness, okay? But before, your ancestors, because I guess they had their own social order and their own goodness, and it was called Christianity, were able to fight it. But I guess in this current void of sort of this atheistic climate, well, anything goes, and who's to say they're wrong? Maybe they're right, et cetera, et cetera. And now you have what's happening. So it's a very unprecedented experience. A lot of people talk about the Roman Empire, this sort of thing happened, but it didn't, and we can get into that. It was actually, they were still cognizant of trying to maintain their own social, cultural mores, Rome. and it fell to the Goths and the Germanic peoples. And I'm just saying, some people use this analogy, but in this case, this is completely your doing, not you, but it's Europe's doing. Okay, you're bringing a hostile force that's openly hostile, and lo and behold, when I look where Muslims are, I see chaos and violence and criminality and rape and grooming in England. Okay, that's what always happened under Islam. Okay, so is there a hope? I think so. I hope so in time, but it's so bad that it even had to get to this point. You know, it's such an abnegation and betrayal of your own heritage, of these men and women who fought and died to preserve your way of life against an open hostile force, and now they're being welcomed in, and why not? It's okay. So I guess so. It's a matter of time.
So where's the hope? Excuse me. So where's the hope? You say there is
the hope is to wake up, wake up and see what reality and what I'm talking about, and understand the history and the doctrine of Islam. And
wake up and smell the coffee, gentlemen. That's the only thing Europe can do, and even then they gotta go. They can't even just kind of get back to the mean, right? They have to go to the other side. They have to be like, we're gonna scour your culture from our society. That's their only way. That's the only way that you can bring Europe back. It's not to say you can't do it. It's just going to cause. There's going to be a lot of trouble to do it. All right, let's move on to the next story here. So
I actually played the other video.
Yeah, I saw it. So just this is all in German anyway. Civil war raging, blah blah blah. All right.
The version that I have is in English. Here, I'll give it to you.
No. I'm talking about the X post. I was just reading the X post. That's in German. Moroccan community calls for calm after anti-migrant clashes. Yeah, of course they want calm because one of theirs fucked up and pissed off the wrong Spaniard, and they're like no mas, literally no mas, right? I mean, never did the language of a cliche ever work out so well. All right, Moroccan community leaders in the Spanish town of Torre Pacheco. I'm sure I misspelled that, but or mispronounced that. Called for calm following 4 nights of clashes between North African immigrants and the far right. The interesting thing is you consistently hear people calling them the far right and not maybe Spanish nationalists or protesters or anti-immigrant protesters or something like that. So they're definitely trying to paint them with a certain kind of brush. In some of the worst such unrest in the country in recent times, police have detained at least 14 people so far over the clashes that flared up on Friday after an attack last week on a local man in his 60s. Far-right groups have called for anti-migrant protests on Tuesday, and over 120 civil guard officers have been deployed to maintain security in the town. A government spokesperson of the region said, authorities say 3 Moroccan citizens suspected of involvement in the assault have been apprehended, including a 19-year-old alleged to be the main perpetrator. Shocking. A young man beats an old man. I mean, no surprises there. He was detained on Monday evening in northern Spain on an assault and battery charges. Not attempted murder charges, you note. A spokesperson for the central government's office in the Murcia region said that none of the suspects lived in the town. After xenophobic messages on social media to hunt down the residents of North African origin, leaders of the local Moroccan community urged calm and advised younger members to remain in their homes after dozens took to the streets over the weekend, clashing with far-right groups and police. We want peace. We don't want criminals. We don't want violence or people who come from outside to make trouble here. Police said arrested 3 people overnight after a confrontation with dozens of young men in San Antonio neighborhood. Some home to the majority of the town's first and second generation migrants who represent nearly a third of the town's population of 40,000. And so, of course, this goes into hate crimes, right? This is exactly what you would expect from a woke hellhole like Spain. That being said, Joe, we're starting to see people kind of get sick of this shit. And this is not something that we're just seeing in Spain. This is something that's happening in areas like Ireland. It's happening in England. It's happening in France. It's happening in Germany, like with the AfD and some of these other. Le Pen's party is standing pretty strongly against, the rise of migrant culture in France. The irony is that the country most likely to become violently nationalistic, I think, in the next 10 to 15 years is France, because they have this kind of like cultural arrogance that will never let another kind of culture come in and supplant French culture. This is one of the they had to have OTAN in order to fully join NATO. They had to have OTAN on all the stationery. Joe, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say they won't. I mean, they have, but crazy.
Guys, have anything else on the Reconquista of Spain and the coming migrant war in Europe?
I just think that you're going to see a continent-wide civil war between Christianity and Islam. And I think that you'll see Judaism on the fringes, but it will continue to, as it always has, side with Christianity, because unlike Islam, Christianity doesn't want them dead.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I've actually got a story that ties into this that I forgot to add this before we go. Have you guys seen the new trend in France?
I have not.
Well, you see, young women have decided that it's fashionable to adopt and walk around a pet pig. Why would this be? Why would pet pigs suddenly become very popular in France among young women on public transportation?
Other people away from them.
Sure does. Certain other people can't really stand that.
Oh, that's for sure.
Black dogs, also a good one.
Haram.
As Matt pointed out yesterday on the Twitter machine, the open tip in open tip match bullets is for pig's blood.
For pig's blood.
Do you know what used to be the preferred and best lubricant of all bullets? Pig lard.
Pig fat.
Pig lard, huh?
It was Thomas Jefferson who said this before the Barbary War. If we are to fight them, we must be prepared to fight them for 1,000 years. And turns out he was right.
All right.
But now, gentlemen, is it time to talk about dem Druze?
I think, gentlemen, that it's time to talk about the hate being visited on dem Druze by dem HTS morons.
Dem Druze.
Yeah, well,
it's ironic that Memoirs of the Druze comes out as all of this going on.
Exactly right. It's almost like somebody coordinated a war in order to promote a book.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past the guy.
Well, I was gonna say, if anybody could do it, he's the man who could. I mean, who knows? Maybe the warlock actually is in the world out there trying to like help coordinate for him.
I told him, and boy, there's no way this is true, that the warlock seems to remind me of a certain former Special Forces colonel who writes books now. And he said, what?
What? No. All right. Who are the Druze?
Right here in Big Fork, Montana. So,
who are the Druze, and why is Israel bombing Syria to protect them? Good question. Syria has been racked with a new wave of deadly sectarian violence that has been placed in the spotlight on the Druze minority in the center of rising tensions with Israel. Dozens of people were killed this week after clashes between the government loyalists, the Druze. By the way, we talked about this a little bit on Monday, so this is a little of a recap for those that may not have saw the show on Monday. This is in the southern city of Suwaida. Prompting Syrian forces to intervene. That in turn triggered renewed Israeli airstrikes as Israel, citing a commitment to protect the Druze, expands its footprints in southern Syria. The United States views the situation as worrisome, according to the U.S. Special Envoy for Syria. By the way, I'm sure it's way more worrisome today than it was, say, yesterday, because of things we'll show you in video that has just kind of come out in the last hour or two. But on Wednesday, Israel warned it would intensify attacks if the Syrian government forces did not withdraw. And guess what? That's exactly what they did. What happened this week? Syria's military entered Suwaida, a stronghold of the Druze community in the country's south, on Tuesday after clashes broke out over the weekend between Druze forces and Bedouin tribes, reigniting fears of attacks against minorities. The clashes left at least 30 people dead and injured dozens more as of Tuesday. Islamist forces allied with the Syrian government joined the fight this week, heightening concern amongst the Druze and prompting a key community figure to call for international protection. Israel, which has vowed to protect the Druze in Syria, launched a fresh strikes against Syrian government forces advancing towards the Suwaida area, and pledged to continue strikes to protect the group. The Syrian foreign minister said several civilians and security force members were killed in the strikes, but did not provide specific figures. In a statement, the ministry condemned Israeli attacks, calling them a blatant violation of the sovereignty of the Syrian Arab Republic and a reprehensible example of ongoing aggression and foreign interference in the internal affairs of sovereign states. Earlier, the Israeli military said that a statement that it struck military vehicles belonging to the Syrian regime forces in the area of Suwaida in southern Syria. CNN has reached out to Israeli Defense Forces for comment regarding civilian deaths. Barak, the U.S. envoy, said on X that Washington is actively involved in all constituencies in Syria to navigate towards calm, continued productive integration discussions. The recent skirmishes in Suwaida are worrisome on all sides, but we are attempting to come to a peaceful resolution. All right. So real quick, who are the Druze? The Druze are an Arab sect of roughly 1 million people who primarily live in Syria, Lebanon, and Israel. In southern Syria, where Druze form the majority in Suwaida province, the community was at times caught between forces of former Assad regime and extremist groups during the Syria's 10-year civil war. Originating in Egypt in the 11th century, the group practices an offshoot of Islam, which permits no converts, either from the religion and no intermarriage. In Syria, the Druze community is concentrated around three main provinces close to the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. More than 20,000 Druze live in the Golan Heights, a strategic plateau that Israel seized from Syria during the Six-Day War. Most of the Druze living in the Golan identify as Syrian and rejected an offer of Israeli citizenship when Israel seized the region. Those who refused were given Israeli residency card, but were not considered Israeli citizens.
I want to point something out here that that is an incredibly loose description of Druze.
Yeah,
and
very.
Them in a horrible light, because they're actually one of the more inclusive religions to ever come from that region.
Yeah,
they are Muslims who believe in Jesus. It is a weird cross of Islam and Christianity. They're not straight Christians, but they believe not just that Jesus was a prophet, but that they do believe that Jesus was the Son of God. So the CNN article appears to be slanting public opinion against the Druze, And that's because CNN fully supports al-Jawlani, who intimidates these people.
Let me give you a different definition of Druze. So they're a vibrant, resilient, ethno-religious community primarily residing in the Levant, known for their rich cultural heritage and strong sense of unity. They celebrated for their hospitality, deep-rooted traditions, and commitment to preserving their unique identity. The Druze are admired for their spiritual depth, blending monotheistic beliefs with philosophical wisdom, and their emphasis on loyalty, family, and community cohesion. So here's the thing that the CNN thing completely missed, is that these are like, religion aside, these people are the people that you want to live next to, right? No matter where in the world you live, because they
Right.
value the positives in community, and they tend to be more like turn the other cheek kind of people. Their historical adaptability and contributions to the Middle East reflect the strength and enduring legacy. So I thought that description was a little better. It's not the CNN one.
The Rumble chat points out the most famous Druze person you all know and didn't know you knew was Casey Kasem.
Casey, that's right. Yeah,
Huh.
no, that's exactly right.
That's funny. I didn't think he looked Druish. I'm sorry.
Please. Oh my God. All right. Let's so if you're curious the current state of this, and you've been hearing me kind of drop some, before we go to any of the fighting stuff, let's go to that footage. If you would watch your
entertaining the chat.
All right, it's the fourth link under the main story.
Oof.
Strikes by Israeli Air Force. I've got to highlight. That's the one. Let's go this. So if you're curious as to why this all of a sudden is going to get a lot more information, like about 30 minutes prior to. So hold on a second. Don't push play yet. 30 minutes prior to the show starting, we had just pulled this up because it had just kind of popped up as I was prepping the show notes. This is like the Syrian Pentagon right here. All right. So at least it was the Syrian Pentagon. Let's play the video.
غارات عنيفة جدا 4 صواريخ 4 صواريخ 4 صواريخ وائل غارة عنيفة جدا غارات عنيفة.
So if you're ever curious how you get rid of a building that you didn't want there anymore, that would be one of the ways to do it. Now here's my question. What does Israel like let them know ahead of time to evacuate? Do they do one of their little door knocker bombs, like they did in Gaza? That's to get everybody out of the building, and then they drop it like this, or what? Watcher, if you look in the show notes, I've highlighted another link. If you want to play that one now, this is the Israeli. So this is the Israeli footage that
goes in here. That's a heck of a ding dong dash right there. That just redefines the term. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly right. So the next footage is released by IDF. Has released the footage. Here, this is from Clash Report. Yeah, you want to go? Yeah. So this is that same building from overhead. Looks like 4 bombs that I saw, 5. Those all look like JDAMs. So these are other targets that they struck as well. I'm just looking to see if there's any more kind of recent. Hamas has released a a statement. We condemn the brutal Israeli aggression on Damascus. This is an organized terrorism that destabilizes Syria. No, fucking having Al Qaeda take over the government destabilized Syria, my brother. Let's see. Syrian Druze leader says, after painful events, we have reached an agreement with the Syrian state. All military operations, Soweto will end. No shit. Soweto will be fully integrated in the Syrian state. So evidently, a ceasefire deal has been reached since these bombs were dropped. Let's see. Ceasefire deal was reached with Soweto, with security checkpoints to be set up and the city fully reintegrated into the state. Let's see. Citizen rights will be guaranteed based on justice and equality. A committee will investigate past violations and offer reparations. The Damascus-Soweto road will be secured. Army units will withdraw. Local police and checkpoints will be reactivated under trusted Okay, this is great. That being said, do we trust that the people who that committed the atrocities in the Alawite regions are going to, honor this? And I'm not going to bring this up because it's graphic, but there's now footage of Druze corpses that are being run over by like pickup trucks and SUVs and things like this on the side of the road. So, I mean, there's a lot of hate going on in this area.
Hey, I want to take an opportunity to discuss something here because Karen brought it up. She asked if the first video was CGI. And I said that one, it was Syrian TV, so why would they fake their own destruction? But then we showed the second video, and they match explosion for explosion. That's the entire point of this channel, and I'm glad you asked the question, Karen, because we want to help you be able to sift through the myriad of false videos and false news that's out there, just like the CNN painting of the Druze in the wrong light. Hey, if the Druze were bad folks, we'd be the first to say it, but they're not. And you have to ask yourself why the international media wants to paint them that way. Well, because they can't possibly be wrong about putting celebrated terrorist al-Jilani in charge of Syria. So that's really what we're here for, is to kind of sift through the media BS and give you the true truth.
Are you saying the experts got it wrong again, Joe?
No, say it isn't so. Although I really do love. Are we going to show the video of the Syrian news girl sitting at her desk? And
hold a second. We can do that.
Just like the one in Iran. Remember the one in Iran where the building came down around her while she was doing the news?
Yes.
This one is pretty close.
Let's see.
I can find it.
Yeah, I'm looking for it too. Here's footage from on the ground. I'm dropping it in the private chat.
Okay, I got it. We'll do this one and then we'll do that one. It doesn't have the dual matchup like you had before the show, but it yeah, that's a green screen, but it's shaky.
She's clearly right next door to that place.
So yeah, she's not actually just sitting right there. She's probably sitting in a building next door, and her entire world just shook. It's crazy. She did not have a poker face in that one.
Yeah. So the next video is from like somebody on the ground, like where all that shit was flying. There was a lot of. Did you see how much debris on the ground was flying around coming out of the building?
Oh yeah.
I thought you're only supposed to say that when you blow somebody else up.
I think it's an all-purpose.
Yeah, it's like an oh my god kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, it's just something that they say to.
Because
it's like hope.
Whoa, I hear small arms.
Here's another one. Here's another view. Watcher.
Okay. Oh boy, whoever that was, what a day to be giving an outdoor presentation.
I know.
though. He's in downtown Damascus, right?
Yeah.
Why was he already kitted up?
Yeah, that's why
Probably
that
because
was.
So here's the one thing I will remind you, that they are within artillery range at this point of the
true.
fighting down south.
I suppose that's true.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
Did you see
Look at
how
that.
all that? Yeah. Did you see
Hey,
how all the
that was the
concrete
angle I
shot out
wanted.
like a cannon?
So here's the bomb right here. You can see it in a few frames,
Yeah, right there. Yeah, coming through this.
and it hits the doorway.
Yeah,
like
the front
literally
door.
the doorway, and it throws something. I think
Well,
it might be
and
concrete.
there's a guy on a scooter right here that totally
Oh
just gets
no!
smurfed.
I missed that. Two of them. Oh no!
This scooter got a little bit of turbo action.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of turbo, y'all, I got to be quiet because there are other people in the house. I drove past a Cuckvy for sale, and it's in great shape. Guess what's happening? Matt's not going to be the only one with an old school Cuckvy. I saw one, and I'm buying it. So I don't even care. I will deny that unless you replace this video. So
I mean,
it actually has a fresh paint job too, so it's really nice. So.
All right. Let's go through those links. We got some links of some of the fighting, the Druze fighting. If you from the city.
Right. That first link that I had. Hold on, I got to get a bunch of other stuff out of the way now.
We were commenting too before the show about the irony of life in the Middle East is the number of cars that just went on about their day despite the city erupting in explosions on them. They're like, hey, still got to deliver the milk.
Yeah, I mean, you could have your war, but I got to make some money.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, let's see. What's the next one here? So let's go to the second link on the notes.
Second link.
Yeah, I got it highlighted there.
Okay, yeah, I think that is what I have up here.
Yeah, this is a post. Yeah, it is. This is a post from War Noir. Druze fighters ambushing Syrian army, former HTS and allied militias in Suwaida. As a result, numerous HTS-led gunmen were killed. Druze fighters used Iran-made AM-50 Saeed anti-material sniper rifle and several PKM machine guns. Now, there are a lot of different kind of speculations on their usage of this equipment. Joe, I mean, what do you think the most likely explanation is?
Well, you know what, you gave a better one than I did, but my original thought was that Iran is not particularly fond of al-Jawlani, so they decided to have a few things fall off a truck in that neighborhood. But you raised a good point of stuff that the IDF took from Hezbollah turned over to these. I see that as more likely. Yeah. Well,
right. Like all of those AKs that the Americans and we seized in going into Yemen and all that kind of stuff. We don't just like throw those into the ocean, right? They put those in places where we could give them to our allies in various different areas. And so I think if you remember, Joe, Israel seized a shit ton of Hezbollah material when they did their offensive into southern Lebanon. So I would imagine that's where a lot of this come from. The other thing to remember is the Druze were allied with the Syrian government early on. And so maybe they got Iranian, Iranian support during the actual civil war back before. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions there, but there's clearly some Druze that are kitted up and ready to fight, and are pretty competent at using their weapons. Let's see. Lost Court 23 for $10. Giving Scott some dollars to celebrate the boy starting to sit unassisted. Well, we do what we can.
Glad your boy is sitting unassisted.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. His boy's sitting. Okay, I was trying to figure that out for a second. But yeah, hey, congratulations, man. Does this not have any kind of... Okay, yeah, it doesn't. I thought it might have some kind of internal magazine system, so...
It looks like a single shot.
Yeah, it is. It's a single shotter.
And then we have another some more footage here of what appear to be, let's see, the new war in Syria is in full swing. Israeli-backed Druze are seceding from the new Syria under the control of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, as previously predicted. Syria will be divided in several regions. Now, I'm not able to positively discern exactly who these people. So these are Druze from the Golan Heights going into that the Israelis are letting go into the region. I would imagine so that these are all military age males that are being allowed to go so they can join the fight.
Yeah, most likely.
And then we've also got if you go to the Megatron link in the notes, this one, third link in that section. I'm not sure exactly who these guys are, but I'm pretty sure these are the Syrian government forces. I can't imagine the Druze are driving around in police pickup trucks.
I don't know. The police there appear to all be wearing Adidas tracksuits.
I know, right?
The guy had perfectly good cover in front of him, and he wasn't using it. Seeing the one guy with the scoped rifle, I wanted to point out something funny that happened here. You know how my wife is like, I'm not buying you another gun for Christmas? Well, now that she works at Cabela's and gets a discount on certain things and extra points on a Cabela's credit card, she was like, I think that I want a 22. What kind should I buy?
She wants a does she want a rifle, or does she want a
she's already told the guys there what kind of revolver she wants, and they're on the lookout for it for her. But she wants to help me with the squirrel problem out here, so she wants her own little 22. I was like, it's not pink. Here's a list of the ones that you should choose from.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it makes me want to get her an air rifle.
Yeah, just stay away from air rifles. That's like the commie answer to
not
22s.
even.
Yeah,
Oh man, if you're trying to deal with a bunch of squirrels, man, you talk about ammo price.
Yep, Juan Solo. That's what I gave her. I gave her a list of variants of the Ruger 1022.
Yes, this is the correct answer.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will not
variants. It's just a high quality gun. It's really an M1 carbine and 22 caliber. And it's a great little gun.
Watcher, I will not tolerate your Canadian style justification for air rifles.
No, man, it's cheap as hell.
You can modify air rifles to fire arrows, which is very cool.
You can, and the one I have does that. And then you can modify those arrows to carry payloads. There's some crazy things you can do.
And you know what? Raging Psychosis says the 1022 with a Magpul stock. That's exactly what I recommended for her, because she needs a short length of pull because her arms aren't very long. So that's what I told her.
What's that one break? What's the really cool backpack breakdown rifle that's in 22? Why can't I think of that one? Like classic
Henry
survival.
AR-7.
Yeah, the Henry. Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
Rowan Court.
It has a Kel-Tec 9mm that folds up into your backpack and it takes Glock mags. It's very cool.
Ooh.
Rowan Court. I am aware that they have squirrels in Africa as well.
Yeah, well, no, they kill big game in Africa.
With caliber air rifle now. That is no joke.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, have you committed to the Canadian annexation of Alberta so much that you are now going down
No,
the
but what has convinced me is that the Duke's son, the son of the Duke, has a very sweet air rifle, and he takes some legitimate stuff with it.
Yeah.
So.
I'll tell you the other side of it that got me into it. Like, as an instructor, I realized that, like, hey, if I'm trying to teach people to watch out for wind and I'm trying to teach them how to compensate for it and how to really pay attention to distance and how to judge it, air rifles are really great for it because it really does force you to have to take those things into account. There is no cheating. I
just buy a flatter shooting projectile. That's why all those guys go out and get that 6.5 Creedmoor, because it's so.
That's true. Yeah.
Hey, now let's be honest, Darth Kitty. I also grew up shooting squirrels with pellet guns. Never my pellet gun; it was other people's pellet guns. That being said, because I did that, and then I switched to 22. I realized how shitty the pellet guns were. All right, enough of the air rifle hate from my side. Next story here: Israel strikes Syrian military headquarters. So this story just came out in the last 2 hours. So I thought we'd kind of talk about the coverage. Israeli bombed the entrance of the Syrian military headquarters in Damascus on Wednesday in a significant escalation of its campaign. The Israeli military also carried out strikes in southern Syria, where the violence between the Druze militants and the Bedouin tribes has flared in recent days. Killings of dozens of people and drawing Syrian security forces. Israeli strikes on the defense ministry, which is located on one of the main squares in central Damascus, came after Defense Minister Israel Katz demanded the Syrian government withdraw its forces from Sueda in southern Syria, where sectarian violence has been concentrated. Katz said the Israeli military will continue to attack regime forces until they withdraw from the area, and will also soon raise the bar of responses against the regime if the message is not understood. I think the message was understood based on the the proclamations of an agreement in the last 30 minutes. Since then, Israel has exploited the security vacuum in the northern area to seize territory along the borders. I don't know that it's seized. I think it has created a buffer zone. And when the security situation changes, I think they will pull back to the Golan Heights. It has also launched multiple airstrikes inside Syria, targeting military infrastructure as well as others that it has said are aimed at protecting Druze communities. Turkish and Arab officials have criticized Israel's military intervention. Of course they have. The irony is that I wonder if some of this isn't a, hey, Jelani, this is what the fucking stick looks like if you don't, get your shit together. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is, got the blessing behind the scenes from some of the Gulf Council folks.
I would remind Jelani that if you remember back in the days of the Green Line and all the troubles in Beirut, the Druze were the actual most effective militia fighting in Beirut.
Yeah.
And that's not for nothing, right? There's a reason for that. It's part of their culture.
All right. I think I have one more. And then just for good measure, Israeli strikes kill 12 in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, the governor says. So they're still reminding Hezbollah remnants that they're still here and that nobody has forgotten about Hezbollah. 7 Syrians, including a family of 5 and 3 Lebanese, were killed when the Wadi Farah. I'm sure they don't talk about how many of these people were literally armed at the time of their death. The Israeli military said it had struck a number of military compounds belonging to the armed group Hezbollah, including training camps associated with this elite Radwan force. These were the deadliest strikes since the ceasefire ended a year of fighting between Israel and Hezbollah, including 2 months of all-out war that left the group severely weakened. Hezbollah has not yet commented on the attacks, although Al-Manar television channel said they constitute violations of both the ceasefire and Lebanon's sovereignty. Not if Lebanon gave permission to the strikes. Arabic language spokesperson for the IDF said on X that the Tuesday strikes were hit several Hezbollah targets. As part of the strikes, military compounds belonging to the Radwan force had been targeted, where terrorist operatives and warehouses used to store combat equipment employed by Hezbollah have been identified. When they say it had been identified, Joe, I bet they've gotten people literally in those places taking pictures right up close. I mean, the Israeli intelligence assets and intelligence penetration of all of these organizations, all the way up to the top levels of Iranian IRGC, I would be really fucking worried about Syria if I was on their bad boy list.
Yeah, I would too. There's some legit training been going on there and some legit effectiveness.
Well, and long-term kind of, long-term planning and effort.
And intelligence prep, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Thought we would mention that. So it's not just Syria that's getting the love. It's also Hezbollah. And then, of course, Hamas is still, fucking it up by the numbers. Gentlemen, we are at an hour and 52 minutes, so we are close to the end. Let's go around the horn. Final thoughts for the day, Joe, looking towards the end of the week?
I think that the leftist craziness is going to continue to spiral. I think that we're going to see more direct conflict between the IDF and the Syrian. I guess it's no longer the Syrian Arab Army. I suppose now it's the Syrian Army. That was an important distinction they made to keep the Druze out of the Syrian army, by the way, was the Syrian Arab Army. And who knows what Turkey's going to do. So I would expect some more saber rattling by Turkey, but no real action other than maybe contributing some air defense help to the Syrians.
Yeah, that makes sense. Watcher?
I'm sorry, I'm a bit wrapped around the axle. What was the specific question around this, or is it just the whole region?
No, we're just talking like looking towards the end of the week, kind of.
Oh, we're wrapping up. I'm sorry, I thought we were telling the story.
No, I gave hey, we got an hour and 52 minutes. Let's look to the end.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Sorry, I've been getting text messages while we've been on the show. What wrapping up for the rest of the week this week? Oh shoot. Well, I'll tell you that this doesn't count as the rest of the week, but it does count as like an indicator of how I think things are going to go. The Carmelo Anthony case just got scheduled for June of next year. What also happens in June of next year? Well, that would be right before the midterms, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, that's November of next year.
Well, sure, but like the trial's not going to be over in a day.
Yeah.
I think they are not necessarily like counting on Carmelo, but I think that they are going to be stacking the deck so that there are a bunch of inflammatory things all coming at it around the same time. I think what that means, though, is that for the next little while, you're going to see like Antifa and a couple of the anti-ICE people really go ham, but you're going to see a lot of other people that are going to be just laying stock up for Summer of Love 2026. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, CWSB. And I would keep an eye out for that and not get lulled into a false sense of security if things do start to quiet down, which I'm not even sure they will, because there are separate groups of radicals inside Antifa that are desperately opposed to the ICE raids. Plus, we haven't even really seen cartel violence start to overlap with that yet. And if you think that the cartels are going to take the loss of one of their primary means of revenue lightly, you're crazy.
Real quick, Hunch Dirty Roofer for $5 says, Watcher and chat, you can do the same with same type of mods with a powder actuated nail guns. Act accordingly. End of TED Talk.
Yeah, oh yeah. Or the powder actuated rivet guns too. Yeah. I've seen people do crazy shit with that.
Hey, speaking of Hunch, I want to point out that guy's always looking out for me. He has found for me a World War II reversible frog skin camouflage tent. And
Oh, wow.
that needs to be in my collection because that's a legit piece of history. So he's picking that up for me. So that's cool. The first standard issue camouflage uniform of the U.S. military was the Marine Corps frog skin. M1942 frog skin.
Yeah, that's one of those kind of, and it's not the best camo ever, like from a technical standpoint, but it's got a good look to it, and
it's got a good
it's
drip
respectable.
It's got a good feel.
Yeah. Like I always thought that would be one of those camo planners that would look good on some of these fashion camos that a lot of the girls and some people wear. Sometimes you know what I'm talking about. Like I don't know if it's the style in America this past year, but in Korea, like fashion camo is all over the fucking.
Oh yeah, it is. And actually, if you recall, when duck hunting first became big, what they now call duck hunter camo is nothing more than frog skin beachside, right?
Yeah.
And that made a big hit, and it's actually made a comeback lately. Hunch again found me someone that sells. Ironically, it was a company I already bought from. Helicon Techs sold the beachside camo uniform, so I got a set.
Yeah,
good stuff. Yes, Chaucerian frog skin is the pattern. Yeah, that's what they called it.
All right. Like as far as looking towards the end of the week, I mean, I think there are going to be some people who get asked out. The only conflict I see in America, like beyond the ongoing terrorism that we've been seeing, is just more internal conflict within the political parties. I think it's not going to go well for both the Democrats and the Republicans along those, because you're seeing two types of conflict, right? You're seeing this kind of internal conflict over the Epstein stuff on the Republican side, and then on the Democratic side, Joe, have you noticed some of these elections that are leading up to the November elections? You're seeing that kind of generational divide, I think, within the Democratic Party, where you've got the young people who are absolutely just wacko commie type, like the AOC and this Muslim guy from what is it, Mamdani or whatever, from New York, and then you've got a much more kind of like practical, I don't know, pragmatic, like Ro Khanna type of Democrat, who is represented by that kind of 50s and 60s year old Democrats. So I think you're really going to see some fracturing going into the midterms where Democrats are going to have to come out and support Republican candidates at the polls. It should be pretty interesting. So we'll see how it goes. Gucci, Rhodesian brushstroke. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's all I've got. Thank you for being here, Joe, Watcher. You guys, excuse me. You held up your end commendably, and you made me look good. So thank you for that. Chat, as always, you guys made the show best chat on YouTube or Rumble. So thank you. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Let your friends know that you're getting some good info here on the Council for Future Conflicts. Council of Future Conflicts. Yes, Council of Future Conflicts. And just if if you would hit the like button, it's free. And maybe even comment in the video below. Let us know what you want to see in future shows. For Joe, thank you. Watcher, thank you. Chat, thank you. As always, stay safe.